hair sockets. His, thank you, his arms and legs broken and the hair on the head scattered. He fell down dead like a gigantic tree uprooted by the wind. It does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful demon, including Hiranyaksha. The Lord could have killed him long before, but he allowed the demon to display the full extent of his magical feats. One may know that by magical feats, by scientific advancement of knowledge, or by material power, one cannot become the equal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His own signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power, as displayed here, is so strong that the demon, despite of all demonic maneuvers, was killed by the Lord when the Lord desired simply by one slap. So before we start, I want to seek all of your blessings. Before even I start, I want to beg at all of your lotus feet, because I'm given this opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam, which is an Amala Puranam, and it can be only spoken by pure devotees, and I'm millions of lifetimes away from that. So seek blessings at your lotus feet and use this an opportunity to purify my existence. So don't consider that I'm giving the class, but consider that like a servant is speaking in front of the master, I just share what is my understanding, and I'm looking for your guidance, and I'm looking for your correction if I do something or if I do not say something as per the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So with that, we want to start with this beautiful verse. First of all, I'm sure we all relish the beautiful festival which happened yesterday, Lord Nrsimha Dev's appearance day. I was just remembering one of the very important point which is so strongly imprinted in my brain, and I may have spoken many times, but I still like to share this because this is very important. At least I have a tendency to forget things. So this way, at least I remind myself about these wonderful things. And what is the importance of attending these festivals? What is the importance of attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class? What is the importance of attending any devotional service activities, including Sunday feast, including any other spiritual practices? We were talking about nine process of devotional service yesterday, right? So he was mentioning a beautiful point. Like kids, they go and collect stamps, right? You go there, that I went there, put a stamp. I went there, I put a stamp. So our mind is like that a canvas where we put the impressions of experiences we go through in our life. Some are bitter, some are very sweet like honey, right? So some people, if you see from a material perspective, some people remember, oh, in this year I went to Niagara. Oh, this year I went to Grand Canyon. Oh, this year I went to Europe. Oh, this year I went to Switzerland, right? So they try to put those stamps, right? So what happens when a person is leaving the body, and we know there are four things which are common in every living entity: birth, old age, disease, and death. So death is a bitter reality which everyone, all of us have to go through, right? So at death moment, most of us have somehow or other, or maybe one part of the life, we have seen movies or we have seen TVs, right? So if you remember in earlier time, there used to be a reel, right, which will run and then you will see different pictures. It won't be as smooth as what you see today, but at the time it would still look charming. Similarly, whatever stamps we have collected on our mind, they actually appear like a movie in front of us. And whichever has a strong stamp, whichever one is a strong stamp on the mind, there is a high probability that it will just appear in front of eyes and then we leave our body. And of course, we know Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, whatever state of mind one leaves the body, he attains the next in the next. He attains the same in the next life. So if I'm remembering about these material elements or these material pleasures or these material beauty, then that is going to land me up into a body which will put me into more suffering and going back to the cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. However, when we come to such experiences, of attending these festivals, participating in the beautiful kirtan, dancing in the kirtan, worshipping the deities, doing the abhishek of the deities, right? Performing Narsimha Yajna, participating in the drama, and relishing that beautiful pastime that actually puts the higher impression on the mind. And that gives us an opportunity that when we leave our body, we will remember those pastimes. So it's not just a attendance which we used to do in the school, but it is much, much, much more beyond than that. Much more beyond that, right? So that is why it is very important to participate with a complete heart, with the 100% heart, and relish those moments. Here, Prabhupada is beautifully mentioning about Hiranyaksh being killed. And we were just hearing about His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu was giving a beautiful katha yesterday talking about how Hiranyakashipu was killed. Right? So Hiranyaksh, which is who's his brother, is being killed by Varahadev. Right? And Prabhupada is explaining here, he allowed the demon to display the full extent of his magical feats. Right? So we were just seeing the drama yesterday. We were just trying to, Hiranyakashipu was trying to play with Lord Nrsimha. Lord Nrsimha, they were just trying to play with Hiranyakashipu. And for Hiranyakashipu, it's like a mountain. He's just not able to put even a fist to, Lord Nrsimha Dev. Lord Nrsimha Dev was playing like a 2-year boy, like, an adult playing with a 2-year boy. It's so easy to carry him and move him around. Right? So it apparently looked like here Hiranyaksha is actually fighting with Varahadev, and we were just reading last Sunday where demigod started feeling, what is happening here, that looks like Hiranyaksha is being very powerful compared to Varahadev, but that's not true, right? So that's what Prabhupada is clarifying here. One cannot become an equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by scientific advancement. This is specific to the materialistic people. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power is displayed here. It's so strong that the demon, despite all demonic maneuvers, was killed by the Lord. We were discussing the inconceivable nature of the Lord last Sunday, and there was a beautiful class which we heard yesterday. I want to actually take the topic from there and talk about how can we perceive the inconceivable energy of the Lord. When we hear these pastimes, and there was a beautiful point which was brought in yesterday by His Grace Vindranath Prabhu. He said, what is the difference between a story and a katha? And I don't want to answer. We all remember that point, that what is the difference between Krishna and katha? The katha is supposed to transform our heart, not like a story which never occurred, right? So when we hear Krishna katha, it is entertaining, it is enchanting, and it is purifying. It is purifying within, it is internally purifying us, which is very important. So when we talk about these inconceivable pastimes, how can we realize that, right? So there is an important point which Prahlad Maharaj mentions in 9 parts of devotional service. He mentions first one is Shravanam, the importance of hearing. I'm going to unshare my screen because this is not needed anymore. So Prahlad Maharaj was talking about the importance of hearing, Shravanam. When we hear Krishna Katha, when we see these personal, when the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, it actually should give the enlightenment to our heart, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam specifically attaches 2 adjectives to hearing: submissive oral reception. Submissive oral reception, and we will just talk about it here. This is a beautiful pastime which we are talking about from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And remember the context which we are talking about, how can we perceive these inconceivable energy or the pastimes of the Lord? By hearing submissively. So here, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself appearing in the form of a devotee, he is being told by Mother Sachi, he wanted to go to Vrindavan Dham. And he was told by his mother Sachi Devi that please don't go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is very far. I won't be able to hear about you. Why don't you go to Lord? Why don't you go to Jagannath Puri? Because there is the same Lord in the form of Lord Jagannath. Why don't you go there? It is closer to Navadvip and I get to at least hear about you. So Lord Chaitanya accepted that proposal and he comes to Puri. And lot of devotees, all the devotees are Navadvip, and we have been hearing in Wednesday, Bhagavatam or Wednesday class, His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu is beautifully explaining about how the ecstasy of love and exchanges between devotees is being rendered in Navadvip as well as in Jagannath Puri. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes there, and near Jagannath Puri, he comes to Ramuna. So Ramuna is a beautiful village where the deities of Kheerchor Gopinath is there. Especially Gopinath, I'll speak and then we will talk about Kheerchor Gopinath. So Gopinath, Lord Gopinath is there and Lord Chaitanya comes and visits this beautiful temple. And he decides to stay in the temple overnight because he heard the glories of Kheerchor Gopinath. Now the question here is, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just came for the first time, right? Though he is definitely the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we were just discussing about it, that spirituality or Krishna consciousness is multifaceted. It is multiple dimensions. There are multiple dimensions. There is no just white and black. There are variety of shades. So yes, he knows the beautiful pastime of Kheerchor Gopinath because he himself was participating in that, right? But at the same time, he heard this pastime, right? He heard this pastime from his spiritual master, Ishwarapuri, right? So when he comes there, right, we are reading, I'm just going to share the screen again. Give me 1 second because I'm going to actually talk about another chapter from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 4. This is actually talking about Sri Madhvendra Puri's devotional service. So today is actually the appearance day of Srila Madhvendra Puri, and we are talking about what is the power of Srila Madhvendra Puri and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually showing the process of hearing is so important, right? So what we see here is Madhvendra Puri is in Govardhan Parvat and how he is actually excavating the deity of Gopal. So that's what we are going to talk about. Sorry, I just forgot to share, but we will talk about that in this case. So process of hearing is very important. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard from Ishwarapuri about Ramuna. He also heard about Kheerchor Gopinath. The process of hearing is so important that it opens our eyes. It opens our eyes because when we are sleeping in the lap of Maya, I'm not talking about you all, but I'm just talking about me, so much material propaganda is going on, there is a tendency to go to sleep. And what does go to sleep means here? That going into the mode of ignorance and forgetting the real purpose of the life. But when we hear Krishna Katha, when we participate into these beautiful pastimes of the Lord by coming to the temple and attending these festivals, right, it actually realign our goal in life, right? And we start appreciating what we have in front of us, right? Appreciating what we have in front of us sometimes is realized when you are away from those devotional activities, when you're away from the beautiful Sangha of the devotees. Trust me, sometimes we take these things for so granted that we don't realize how these things are treasure to our heart. And when we lose that opportunity to be in association of devotees or to experience these festivals, we realize, oh, Krishna, I'm missing that. I was just remembering yesterday when I was sitting in a Narsinga Yagya, and I was just remembering the last year Narsimha Yagya. And I was watching on Facebook and I'm like, I wish I could be there on that place. These devotees are so fortunate. All of you are so fortunate that you could attend Narsimha Havan there. And I was like, I wish I could be there, right? So that when people like me don't appreciate what we have, and when that is taken away, we realize the importance of that process of hearing we were talking about. So this is a real incident which happened. So many years back, there was actually a terrorist attack in Taj Mahal Hotel in Mumbai. So lot of shooting and all that stuff happened and all that. So next day, when everything was taken care of, there was one guy who came out of the room who was staying in that hotel that night. And he came out, why there is no breakfast today? And the police was there, man. Do you know what happened yesterday? He said, no. Apparently, that person was actually having a hearing disability. So he forgot to put his hearing aid and he could not understand what happens around. What does that mean for us when we talk about submissive hearing? Is like I'm there, physically there, apparently looks like I'm also attending the festival, but I'm not putting the hearing aid, which is of submissive oral reception. When I do not put my submissive attitude and realize the importance of these festivals, attending these festivals, then apparently it looks like I am not gaining the advantage and I'm not realizing what is going on. My spiritual master, whenever we go for yatra, the first line he would say, don't try to see things in the Vrindavan Dham or any other holy place we see. We see by hearing. And the same places of Vrindavan and same places of Mayapur, when you go with devotees and when you hear about the importance of those places, then it opens your heart. It is like a spring season is coming, right? So you need to make the land fertile. Before sowing the seed, you have to actually make the land fertile so that it can grow up like a big tree. Similarly, hearing is like fertilizing our land, fertilizing our heart so that we can receive Krishna's grace. And that is what we were seeing yesterday. One time, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was giving a class, very important pastime actually. So when he was giving the class, there was a person who entered the temple and went directly to the deities to take the darshan of the Lordship. And then after taking a darshan, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was noticing definitely he was about to leave the temple. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked him, called him and said, how was your eye massage? He said, how was your eye massage? Right? So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, instead of hearing the glories of the Lord, you're directly going to take the darshan of the Lord. Because we cannot see the beautiful form of the Lord without appreciating, without hearing the inconceivable pastimes of the Lord. Right? Why there is a drama being included in every festival, there is a reason for it. The reason for it, why there is a class which is included in every festival, there is a reason for it. If we do not hear about the beautiful pastimes of the Lord, we may take it cheaply and consider that as another entertainment. Right? In the drama, I was just noticing on my consciousness, I was hearing my spiritual master this morning, and I was just thinking about it. There was this drama going on, and I myself was participating in that. There are beautiful verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, especially being spoken by dear Prahlad Maharaj. And the focus, rather than on these verses, I'm like, I want to play my role properly. I want to do a proper justice, because so much of work is being, so much of effort and energy being spent by His Grace Kadama Kanan Prabhu and Her Grace Hemanga Gopi Mataji. But I miss to actually relish those beautiful verses being spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. Right? So, deities and hearing, unless we hear, we take deities very cheaply. Right? There is a beautiful another pastime where Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur talking about that Badam Bangi Shaligram. So Shaligram is the deity of the Lord. Right? So apparently what would happen is, many times the pujaris in Bengal would get almonds. devotees come and offer, because we should not be coming empty-handed to the temple. So devotees bring. So what they do is, rather than offering these elements to the Lord, what they would do actually is they would use that Shaligram Shla to break the element, because element has a covering. So not like we get the elements here, but there is an element covering as well, right? This is the tendency we develop when we do not hear, when we do not do a submissive hearing, right? Similar, another pastime of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, while he was giving a Krishna Katha, one sannyasi came and announced, that there is a facility for devotees to take darshan of Shirodakshai Vishnu temple. So all the devotees woke up, and a lot of devotees woke up and went to take the darshan of the Lord, while Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was giving the class. But Srila Prabhupada at that time was Abhay Charan. He was sitting and listening. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur made a note of it. He said, Abhay Babu likes to hear. And because he likes to hear, he can preach. Right? So that is why hearing is so important in our spiritual life, that nourishes the Bhakti Lata Bij. Right? There is a tendency, when we offer to the Lord, we consider Lord as a food purifier. We have air purifier, we have water purifier. So we offer the bhoga because now we will get karma free food. I will not get the karma. Because when we do not hear, when we participate into different aspects of devotional service, it becomes a mechanical process, or it becomes a ritual rather than being spiritual. Right? Or sometimes even we go, when we offer, there are situations when kids are there, when you go out, that you may not be able to offer to the Lord because you're buying something from outside. So we just say Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. I was just, when I came from Toronto, my kids shared a beautiful point saying that, whenever we buy something from outside, we should not be offering directly to the Lord because it's not cooked by us. So what do we do? Now I was in a dilemma. What do we do? Should we just say Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, or should we offer it to the Lord? And Rasika mentioned a beautiful point that I think it is better to offer to the Lord. And I was just thinking the subtle point behind it is because anything which is a shortcut is easier. So the mind gets accustomed to that, and then we try to imbibe something which is a shortcut route. So rather than doing that, and again, I'm just saying, and I need verification from His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu, Sham Kishore Prabhu, Shamanand Krishna Prabhu, and all the wonderful Vaishnavas here who can guide and correct on that. I was thinking the tendency is to take a shortcut. Why not even offer to the Lord that, please forgive us that I'm offering this to yours, to yourself, but I don't want to take a cheaper route. I don't want to take a shortcut route, because I will have a tendency to always, whenever I get and eat something, I just say Shri Vishnu, because I can just put in my mouth pretty quickly. Right? So coming back to the process of hearing, we see a beautiful pastime. We were just enacting the drama yesterday, and we saw Lord Indra participating in that pastime. And we see a different perspective of Lord Indradev, but there is an important quality which I want to bring in, and this is from Narsimha Leela, right? The process of appreciating the Lord. So this is what is happening is, Kayadu, Hiranyakashipu's wife, while he went to the forest to do tapasya, Indradev and other devatas came to actually kidnap Kayadu. Why? Because they thought Hiranyakashipu is going to come back, and his son, who is about to come out of his mother's womb, he must be a demon. And now rather than handling one demon, we will have to handle two demons. So why not we kill him? Now these devatas have a power to actually get into the embryo and kill the child, but they didn't do it. Of course, there is another incident where Lord Indra actually entered in the womb and tries to kill. Don't want to talk about that pastime. But here, they try to kidnap Kayadu. And at that time, Srila Narada Muni comes. And what does he say? What are you doing? So they said, this is the thing. And Narada Muni explains, actually, the devotee, the person, the child who is in the womb of Kayadu, he is actually one of the 12 Mahajan. How can you do that? And then this is a beautiful aspect. Indradev and other devatas actually circumvented Kayadu and left from there. This is the process of hearing. They did not say, oh, let me do a scanning machine and see whether he is a devotee or whether he is a demon inside the womb of Kayadu. They accepted whatever Narad Muni said. This is hearing. It's a beautiful quality of Indradev and other devatas being showcased, that how one should hear and apply. And I'm a rascal number one. I've been hearing so much from senior Vaishnavas, especially His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu, how to take up devotional service to a next milestone. But I'm a rascal that I do not want to follow that. So beg apologies, Prabhuji, and beg apologies to all the Vaishnavas who have been guiding me and mentoring me. And I'm not able to follow all your instruction, and I'm not following your instruction. So this is very important. So what is coming now? When we talk about hearing, we were talking about, if I'm not hearing, then I take deities cheaply. But when we live in the community of devotees, there is a tendency to judge people. And I am a biggest culprit there, or to criticize devotees. I want to quote one material story which is very much connected with this. How one should not judge by external appearances. So there is one couple, an old couple, getting down at the Boston railway station. And this couple comes to the Oxford University. And they show an inclination that we want to meet the dean of the university. So there is an assistant standing out, and the first thing which he does is he observes their form. They are not shaved, they are wearing dilapidated clothes. So they were like, oh, who are these guys, just coming to pharmacy and they're coming to Oxford. So they said, we would like to meet Mr. Dean. Okay. So the assistant went in, like, these are like farmers or something like that, because they are in such a dilapidated and they want to see you. So he was like, I don't want to meet them, but they insist they want to meet you. So ask them to wait. And then they were waiting for the whole day, and they didn't go because they said, we want to meet. And then this guy again went in. What should we do? So Dean said, okay, bring them in. So the assistant let them in. And these old couple said, our son was actually studying in Oxford University, and few days back, he met with a car accident. So we want to actually donate a whole building on his memorial, for his memorial. So the dean started laughing. Man, you don't even have clothes to wear. Do you know how much it costs to actually donate a building, or actually create a building in Oxford University in Boston? So he started telling them that you don't worth it. So and he said, get lost from here. So this old couple got out from that room, and the wife asked the husband, how much does it take to actually create or build a building like that? And husband said, maybe 10 million. He said, then let's create our own university. And that's how the Stanford University was formed. Apparently, this old couple, who apparently look like dilapidated, and these are in like poverty-stricken condition, but they were actually the multi-millionaire businessmen. Right? I was also hearing the beautiful pastime of Sudama. I know it's time, but actually Sudama, when he enters to Dwarka, he comes through many gates and he's not stopped in any gate, which is so surprising. And he goes and he comes through, he sees many palaces, and finally he comes to Lord Krishna's palace. And when Krishna sees him, he rushes to him and he hugs him, and then he makes him sit on his throne and washes his feet. And very important aspect, material people or people in this world are behind Lakshmi. He gives the charmer to Mother Rukmani that you fan him. Wow. Atithi Devo Bhava. That is one aspect of the story, but how Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, is washing the feet of his devotees, his friend here. So the tendency is, in order not to take devotees cheaply, we need to hear. Otherwise, we are working or we are serving with other devotees who are actually just there, coming from spiritual world and finishing up little activities or inspiring other devotees to take up Krishna consciousness and ready to fly to the spiritual world. And what we do is, hey Prabhu, you don't know how to cut the vegetables? I'll show you how to cut the vegetables. Oh Prabhu, you don't know how to worship the deities? I'll teach you how to worship the deities. Right? You don't know how to actually do abhishek? I'll tell you how to do the abhishek. You don't know how to serve prasad? I'll teach you how to serve prasad. You don't know how to sing kirtan? I'll teach you how to sing kirtan. So we try to judge devotees. Right? And there is another aspect that many times we glorify devotees only in front of them, but it is actually very important to glorify these devotees also when they are not present, because it purifies us. So what happens coming back, I know with the restriction of the time, we are coming to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's stories, who is actually heard from his spiritual master, and now he is appreciating. Of course, he is a Lord himself, but he is appreciating the Gopinath deities. And where is this Gopinath deities coming from? So he talks about the stories of Srila Madhvendra Puri, whose appearance day is today. So Srila Madhvendra Puri is actually coming to Govardhan Hill, and after the parikrama, he's chanting. He's chanting the entire time, and he is now sitting under the tree and chanting. And while he's chanting, there is a beautiful blue boy who comes there. And he says, Baba, Baba, here is a pot of milk. Please drink it. I know you haven't eaten or you haven't drank anything for many days. So Srila Madhvendra Puri says, how do you know? He says, in this village, nobody remains hungry. And I got to know there are many Vrajavasis here who actually comes and walks here. I heard from them that you have been practicing devotional service here, but you haven't eaten anything. So here is the pot of milk. You drink, I'll come and pick it up later. So Srila Madhvendra Puri offers his obeisances, and then after a few minutes, or after that blue boy left from there, he drinks that nectar of milk. And then he keeps it aside. And after that, he got tired, he went to sleep. In the sleep, he had a dream. The same boy came to the dream of Srila Madhvendra Puri that on top of the Govardhan Hill, I am buried. Can you get me out? It is so hot here. Srila Madhvendra Puri opens his eyes. So first lesson we talked so far is the process of hearing. Why we should hear and how we should hear, and what is the transformation it brings to our heart when we hear attentively. We do not take deities cheaply. We do not take devotees cheaply. We do not take devotional service cheaply. We do not take 9 process of devotional service cheaply. Now, he dreamt about Gopinath. He dreamt about Gopal coming in his dream. What is the difference between a dream of a pure devotee and dream of a materialistic person like me? Is for them it is a vision. For them it is not just a dream. It is actually the Lord personally appearing in that dream. Right? So that is what is happening here. Madhvendra Puri is seeing that dream, which is actually Lordship personally coming and giving him instructions. Srila Prabhupada had similar dreams, if you remember. He had 3 dreams, and all the 3 times, what is coming is his spiritual master is coming and ask him to take sannyas. Right? So that is the difference between a dream and vision or revelation. Right? Our impressions are, our dreams are just impressions in our mind. For an example, I saw gold, I saw mountain, golden mountain. right? So he sees that he sees in the dream that Gopal is calling, and the next day he calls all the villagers to excavate Gopal, and they start the work. And there is a beautiful deity of Gopal comes out of the earth in Govardhan Hill, on top of Govardhan Hill. And the deity of Gopal is so heavy. So very strong people are invited to actually pick up the lordship. And then they somehow get the Gopalji out. And then Madhvendra Puri arranges saying that we need to do Abhishek and we need to do an installation ceremony on one day, same day. So there is an Abhishek being performed of Gopalji. There is a huge feast being cooked, hundreds and thousands of varieties being cooked by the villagers. And worship is happening of Gopalji on the same day, in one day. Can you imagine? We were just discussing yesterday, so much of effort goes for us to have a biryani, sabji and raita in our 4-section plate. It apparently looked like, wow, this is amazing prasad. Yes, prasad is always amazing, but there are hundreds of devotees working for an entire day to cook, chop, cleaning the vessels, cleaning the whole kitchen, doing the Abhishek, arranging the Abhishek. I was hearing from another devotee yesterday that these kalashes also needs to be washed after this, and it was like 9:30 at that time. So much work goes behind temple cleaning. Garland making happens, starts from previous day. So many devotees come together to actually make Lord to be the center and appreciate or glorify the Lord with their wonderful services. So here all the devotees are coming and arranging the Abhishek and Annakut for Gopalji. And then after that, everything is done in that day, a beautiful festival. And there is another lesson to actually learn from this beautiful pastime. So there are strong people being called upon to actually lift the Gopalji or excavate the Gopalji out from the earth. So Madhvendra Puri, and this is one quality we all need to have. He knew how to engage everyone based on what is their capacity, or based on where they are in devotional service. So this is very important quality, and at least I have to work on it. Being a preacher, being a leader, it is very important to understand what are the needs and concerns of a devotee whom we are cultivating. And rather than giving something more, something which they cannot chew and run away from devotional service, we need to know how do we engage them so that they can take it from there. Like Srila Prabhupada had a beautiful quality of this, of Srila Madhvendra Puri here, that he would understand that if you know how to use the camera pretty well, you should become a photographer for Krishna. You know how to carve the deities, you should carve the deities of Lord Jagannath. You want to take Lord Jagannath outside because there is a beautiful beach, we should have Jagannath Yatra. So Prabhupada utilized the spark in every person and created a big revolution in the entire society. Now, after the whole festival is over, Srila Madhvendra Puri receives another dream. And then he is told by Gopalji that I'm feeling really hot in spite of so much of Abhishek. Why don't you go to Puri and get me Chandan? Right? Now, this is, I lack in that quality. That's why I want to spell this out. It's not that I'm talking about you. Madhvendra Puri did not say, why me all the time? You just come in my dream and ask me to do service. Just now I finished my service and I'm relaxing now. I'm having a plate of prasad. Why you are asking me for service now? He did not say that. He appointed a pujari who will take care of Gopalji, and then he started walking towards Jagannath Puri. And while he is going to Jagannath Puri, he comes to Ramuna. And sorry, he goes there and gets the chandan and comes, he goes there first, comes to Ramuna, and then he heard about the beautiful offering of kheer which is being offered to Gopinath. So he was thinking about it. I think this happened behind. Sorry, I just forgot whether he is doing that after coming back, or whether he is attending the darshan of the Lord before going for Jagannath Puri. So I think he got the chandan wood and he is bringing that. Oh no, I think it was while going there. I'm very sorry about that. So he actually was meditating. I want to actually make the same kheer for Gopalji if I could get to taste. And at the time the offering was being made, and he is thinking about it. Oh, I should not have thought about, because Krishna is honoring this prasad. I should not have thought about it. So immediately he leaves from there. But his glories are spread anywhere because Gopinath kept one pot stolen for him. And he told the pujari that you go and give this to Madhvendra Puri. He is there in a nearby village. And he goes there and gives to Madhvendra Puri and tells about, oh, you know what? Gopinath stole this milk or this kheer for you. And he was thinking, I should not be glorified and I don't want to be a center of attraction. He immediately leaves from there. That is an important third lesson we learn from this beautiful story. That we should consider ourselves as completely minute and not look for an opportunity being glorified. So Madhvendra Puri leaves from there and then gets the chandan, and while he's coming back, again Gopalji comes into his dream that this chandan you offer to Gopinath in Ramuna. He is not different from me. So he's not saying, अरे इतना effort करा, उधर से इतना मेहनत करके लेके अभी बोलते हो नहीं चाहिए. He didn't say that. Didn't say, why are you asking me? You only asked me to go and bring it. And when I'm bringing, why are you saying that I should offer it to them? So much effort is went behind. No, he accepts that. So that is the fourth lesson from that story. Whatever comes in our life, and this is very difficult, at least I find it very difficult, we accept as Krishna's mercy. It's easy to accept when something good comes in our life, but when we go through difficulty in our life, it's very difficult to actually say that, oh, you know, Krishna, it is all your mercy. Because that requires realization. I'm not at that stage. I just want to admit here. So I know it's 9:08. I want to end here, but let's summarize what we have heard so far, right? We were reading about Hiranyaksha being killed by Varahadev. And in the purport, Prabhupada is beautifully explaining that Lord let him, he allowed the demon to display the full extent of his magical feats and then destroyed him. So we were talking about why process of hearing is so important. And that is how we can attain or we can realize the inconceivable nature of the Lord. And when we hear, what happens is we do not take deities cheaply. We do not take devotees cheaply. We do not take these festivals cheaply. We do not take these Srimad Bhagavatam classes cheaply. We do not take, and I'm just trying to remind myself, we do not take the process of devotional service cheaply. That is the power of hearing. And we took an example of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he heard about the glories of Madhvendra Puri, Kirchor Gopinath, right, and Ramuna village. So he is appreciating that, though he is a Supreme Lord himself. And he is glorifying Madhvendra Puri. And we heard about Mahasrila Madhvendra Puri. And we heard three lessons. One is about hearing, with Lord Chaitanya is showing. Second, we talked about how Madhvendra Puri's dreams are not dreams like us, these are revelations. Another lesson we learned is he recognized the potential and the shortcomings of devotees, and he arranged in such a way saying that the Mahabalishta, whoever were the more powerful people, were given an opportunity to get the Lord out from the earth. So he understood, he knew how to utilize everyone's potential in Krishna's service. Then he goes actually to get the Chandan. He's not complaining, you know, how much devotional service I have, why should I actually do it now? He goes and gets it. he realizes that he should not be he should not be the center of attraction, he should not be glorified. So he's leaving immediately when the Gopal is stealing the deity, stealing the kheer for Madhvendra Puri, and that's how the deity's name came out to be Kheer Chor Gopinath. Right? So with this, I would like to end here. Please forgive me for all my nuisance. I'm just a rascal trying to actually serve here and trying to crawl in spiritual life. So seek your blessings and seek your prayers so that we can grow in spiritual life. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions, comments, or revelations?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for emphasizing the importance of hearing. And I always loved how the lectures, even though they are long, that's where our focus has to be, so that we understand what this festival is all about. And it has entertainment, but it's not all about just sense clarification entertainment, but it is a liberating entertainment. When we hear the lectures, we get to know Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for stressing
Beautiful.
on that.
Thank you, Madhaji. You said a beautiful and liberating entertainment. Beautiful. Thank you, Madhaji. Amazing. Any other questions, comments here? Any corrections, please? Wonderful. If there are no more questions, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Thank you, Yugal Kishore Prabhu. You had something to add, Prabhuji?
Nice class, amazing class. Like your action only.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Just learning from you. I still remember that day when I did not know how to speak and you empowered me to speak. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Amazing. Dandat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.